Ladies and gentlemen, this teen takeover saga continues to rampage on, and so let's talk about it. And right off the bat, get this out the way. We're gonna call it what it really is, y'all. Black teen youths gathering in large mass, rioting, destroying cities, and calling it just having a good time. And ground zero might be Chicago, Illinois, because not only are they dealing with teens rioting and destroying people's property across different parts of the city, but you also got an incompetent mayor in Brandon Johnson who refuses to actually do anything about it when it comes to holding the teens or their parents accountable, ladies and gentlemen. And here's the part that they do not want to talk about. The loudest voices urging the mayor to finally do something about it, they're not coming from white people, white liberals, non-blacks. No, they're coming from other black people, ladies and gentlemen, who are frankly just sick and tired of the reckless behavior of neglectful parents and the mayor who continues to allow these teenagers to get away with it. And so as always, smash that thumbs up button. That's the best way to let me know you enjoy the content. For more, subscribe to the channel. Let's start right here.
I have some exciting news. We have 1,000 teenagers that have taken advantage of the free membership at 7Ys across the city. Let's keep this momentum going. There's still time to sign up because I want to make sure that we have safe spaces for our young people. I want to thank Melvin and Monique through Mael Cares for this investment, to all of our YMCAs. Chicago, let's put our arms around our young people to make sure that they have a free, safe, healthy space to thrive this summer.
And so Brandon Johnson, he wants you to believe that all it takes is a couple after school programs and problem solve. So we need, we don't really got to hold these teenagers accountable. I mean, it's not like they're teenagers who we're going to treat like teens who understand right and wrong. No, we're going to treat them like they're 4-year-olds who have no clue the difference between right and wrong. And so we're going to baby them. We're going to say, let's create a program that the city got to pay for because, you know, the city is just flowing in money. And now you have black residents, those who are responsible and tired of this, quite frankly, speaking out as far as things go about the chaos that they got to deal with in their own community because they see what's happening. They're tired of it, and they're calling Brandon Johnson out directly. Check it out.
Well, I unfortunately just got caught in a teen takeover at the Hyde Park Trader Joe's.
Hyde Park right now. This is not acceptable.
Your entire teen takeover outside. Oh my God.
I got back from the office and decided to pop into Trader Joe's so I could get some dinner and snacks for my kids. When I arrived there were a few units from UCPD, and then there were some teens walking around. And I was like, you know what? They seem like they're leaving. I'm going to go ahead and run into the store. I didn't leave any of my belongings in my car, and I took my kids into the store with me. While we are in the store, the entire store is swarmed with hundreds of teens. And these are not cheerful looking teens. I love our people, but we have to be so for real about what is happening in Chicago right now, because nothing about what I just saw is okay. My kids were afraid. The people in the store were very nervous. I heard parents telling their kids, shut up, I have to think. People literally frantically trying to figure out what they may need to do to get out of a very tough situation. This is not okay. Chicagoans are being terrorized by these teens. CPS, turn off the bus cards. Right now, we don't need divvy bikes. We don't need scooters. There has to be a citywide mandatory curfew for these kids. Mayor Brandon, do something. It's not okay for people to be terrorized in a Trader Joe's on a Monday night while they're grabbing some groceries. You have to fix this situation. This is not acceptable. It is dangerous, because if I would have been carrying, I had to literally frantically load groceries into my car while teen boys who were taller and bigger than me were all around my vehicle and all throughout the lot. Not everybody's going to be patient, and not everybody's going to be understanding. You're putting the teens at risk by not quickly getting a solution together. Fix the teen takeover situation immediately. Mayor Brandon, Governor Pritzker, put y'all big heads together and get a solution.
People are sick and tired of being told to pretend this is about disenfranchisement, poverty, or a lack of opportunity. At some point, we have to be honest about what we are watching. These are groups of teenagers choosing to reject basic civil order. They're running around through downtown areas, neighborhoods, damaging property, attacking people, disrupting businesses, and everybody is expected to pretend, just act like it's just kids being kids. You know, one thing my parents instilled in me when I was young is that when you're out in public, you better at least act like you got some common sense, some self-respect, enough discipline not to embarrass your family even when they're not around. You know, but unfortunately, due to the erosion of black culture, where adults are setting the very standards that these kids are following, you know, the same pathway that has the bonnet bandits out in public wearing their pajamas and their bonnets while they're shopping. Same ones that have them out at graduations acting a complete straight fool with it because they don't have any sense of decorum. Events that used to be all about respect and achievement and family pride are now turning into loud, chaotic spectacles where people act like they don't have basic public civility. That doesn't matter anymore. And then we wonder why the kids are acting this way. Not really a hard equation to add up and figure out, ladies and gentlemen. And nobody's saying unruly teenagers only exist in one race. Obviously. You have reckless teenagers in every community. But let's keep it real. A lot of the people who are speaking out are black residents themselves because they are the ones watching this chaos come to destroy their own communities. That's the one part Brandon Johnson and these soft on crime politicians don't want to deal with. At some point, to solve the problem, accountability has to matter. You cannot keep calling it youthful expression when property is being damaged and refuse to hold the actual offenders causing the chaos responsible. But let's continue. Johnson is telling everybody in Chicago exactly what he's willing to do and what he's not going to do. He don't care about the fact that these kids are destroying property. He's not willing to enforce a curfew even because he thinks it's unfair to the black community. When you listen to the messaging coming from the left, specifically when we talk about what they say towards the black community, everything is framed around how can I let them know I see you as the victim? How can I make sure you don't feel like you're being judged, criticized, or, you know, held accountable? But the reality is this is the Democrat Party in a nutshell right now. And it's not only Brandon Johnson who thinks and speaks like that. Take a listen.
Welcome back. Well, we're talking about this. Teen takeovers across Chicago have renewed concerns about public safety, community accountability, and how leaders can prevent, I should say, future incidents.
And there have been a lot of, ideas tossed around here. Joining us now is Illinois State Senator Lakeisha Collins to discuss strategies that can keep our communities safe while steering youth away from the justice system. Senator Collins, thank you for being here. Chicago has seen several highly publicized teen takeovers, and let's be honest, we're not the only city. I mean, we're one of a handful across the country that has seen an uptick in these incidents. Why do you think that is?
Well, one, I want to say thank you for having me on this morning, and I wish I could be there with you in public, but this is a very important topic, and I feel the anxiety of all Chicagoans across this city. But yes, this is happening everywhere. Our young people are looking for a place to blow off steam. They're dealing with a lot of trauma, and I think a lot of times we are not looking at it from that aspect. And when you're dealing with trauma, everyday trauma, that is, and it's not being addressed, it's going to blow up somewhere. And so they're creating spaces that they don't have in community to be able to congregate, network with one another, get those mental health resources that they need. And so they're creating these spaces with a click of a button where masses of them are showing up across the city.
Senator Collins, I heard you say network there, and I want to be on the other side of this because some people feel like they're not trying to network. They're trying to cause trouble. And so some residents are sick and tired of it, and they want enforcement like what we're seeing right there on the side of you, where we're seeing police, make arrests, get them out of the area. We've seen where they've actually gone into actual residential neighborhoods like you're seeing right there on your screen. Some would argue that coming up with excuses for them is not the answer, but instead, maybe there needs to be more accountability for the parents and more stiffer punishment for the children. Where do you stand on that?
So thank you for that question, Tia. I am a mother of 3 boys. I have a 20-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 13-year-old. So my kids, they fit some of the age groups that are out there. But I would tell you this. The reality is that you have working class families here in the city of Chicago. There are families who are going to working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And so there, yes, needs to be accountability. I'm all for that. But true accountability is not just arresting young people on the street because they're looking for a place to blow off steam. True accountability comes from building out infrastructure where they can have these safe spaces.
I'm gonna stop it right there because she's talking out both sides of her mouth, quite frankly. True accountability is not just about arrest. It can also include creating a safe space. None of that matters if you refuse to enforce the law. None of it. Want to talk about a safe space? Who cares? When you do not even want to implement a basic curfew to put some order in place, then what exactly is a safe space supposed to mean? This is what you call liberal double talk. They want to sound like they care about accountability, but they do not actually want to hold people accountable. That should be the bare minimum, ladies and gentlemen. But instead, you have residents who are tired and they're begging their own city leaders just to enforce the most basic standards of public order. But let's continue.
When I was growing up, we had recreation centers, we had community hubs, we had places to go to, movie theaters to walk to. You no longer see that in the community where a lot of these young people live, right? And there are laws already on the book to hold them accountable. Again, I had a 20-year-old son who missed his curfew when he was 16. I had to pay a fine, which was $70. That's a law right now on the book. If they implement the law and enforce it, then that is another way to hold them accountable. But to say that these young people are just looking for trouble, oftentimes that's not the case. My 17-year-old son, Jalen, told me he get these notifications, but he also knows that there are some people who show up to not just network, but they show up and they might see a rival and then things get out of hand. And so I get the frustration. I'm not making excuses for them, but I want us to come up with real solutions and not be reactionary, because when we're reactionary, then you come up with mass incarceration, which we're still paying for that today.
And so what I'm gathering from her is actually very, very simple to understand. Because the people in these communities continue to elect the same people over and over and over again into leadership positions, running the city into the ground, businesses eventually started to leave these communities because they became far too dangerous to operate in. And instead of enforcing the law, Democrats running the city chose a soft on crime approach. And so now these are your consequences. Businesses do not want to do business with you anymore because it's not worth it. It all comes back to the parents, the leaders. Then it trickles down to the kids. And this is only going to continue because the adults refuse to actually, look in the mirror and take accountability.
You say to hold the young people accountable, but isn't that some form of incarceration or the juvenile justice system? That's my first question. And the second is, with the way that our state budget looks, how are we to find money to finance these institutions that you think would be the solution?
So we've already put funding into our violence intervention and prevention organizations. We put $116 million into that budget again this year.
Yes.
Yes, it is. And these organizations, they do work, and we need to build on the ones who have shown positive results. We need to take a look at some of the ones that may need to be revamped. But we also put more money into our Reimagine Public Safety Fund, which was $46 million additional dollars there as well. And so some of this is an infrastructure deficit. And how do we solve that problem? We have a lot of vacant lots here in the city of Chicago. We can use some of those vacant lots as pop-up athletic courts. We can use them as art spaces. We can use them as music workshops. Where what we're missing is addressing the trauma that a lot of these young people are dealing with, okay? A lot of them are trauma bonding. A lot of them are going there to blow off steam. Some of them are going simply to network, and it does turn chaotic. I'm not for the property damage, but there are laws on the books to address property damage. I am not for, putting extra fines on parents who are barely able to make the rent or barely able to keep the lights on as it is. We're now dealing with a federal administration where they have kind of left us hanging here at the state. So we're doing everything that we can to still secure and prioritize dollars that we give back to the city and other municipalities who give out those direct services.
I knew it. I just knew it. How you blame Trump for this in a Democrat-run city, Democrat-run state, but somehow it's Trump's fault. And listen, Trump already showed he willing to help enforce law and order in the black community. He did it in Memphis. He did it in D.C. But y'all got a mayor who want to act all big and bad, and so that's why y'all was left hanging. Tell the truth, the whole truth. Don't lie.
We have to do a little bit more there, but we also have to get up to the times where these young people are in. They are in the 21st century, the digital age. There are things we can do there. We can put money towards tech and digital, and we've already seen this happen in other places like Dalton and Broadview and, Rockford, where community is now being involved. Faith leaders are being involved. They are creating these prayer takeovers, these youth empowerment takeovers. Parents are sharing these flyers in groups and they're asking them, hey, check on your kids. It's 10 o'clock. Where are your kids? But again, you're talking about punishing a parent, because I heard about Alderman Lopez ordinance he's trying to pass, give them $1,000 to $5,000 fine when they could barely keep the lights on. That's not going to solve this problem either. You're talking about, going up and restricting them from areas that was once public to a lot of us as young people. Every generation has had their moment. We're dealing with something a little bit different because of the time we're in, but we have to meet them where they are, and we all have to hone in. Community, parents, our organizations, and we have to get our young people at the center of this. We have youth advocacy groups out there. We need more mentorship, and we need organizations with programs that are tailored to the age range, because a 20-year-old mindset is not the same as a 13-year-old or a 17-year-old. So they need to have things that are tailored to them.
All I hear is, Daddy government, please come fix my life. Come solve my problems. Because people do not want to be accountable for their kids, their community, their own actions. And this is what you end up with, ladies and gentlemen. City run by black leadership that keeps telling the black community, you're the victim. It's not your fault. Someone else is responsible. These are the results. But those are my thoughts on the update. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below. I appreciate when you guys chime in. Don't forget, enjoy the content. Smash the thumbs up. For more, subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.